God. Yo.
Hey,
Did I catch you off guard?
I just messaged you on Discord on Telegram. So yes, you did.
I was like, read the first half. I'm ready. We're not even half. And I was like, cool, let's go. Sorry, man.
Hey, man. Oh,
You can go off camera again and like pull your pants up. It's fine.
no, well, pull them down.
As long as that's off camera, it's fine.
Dude, you invented JSON?
Me.
Mimi did. Gotcha.
Who
I have an
invented
important.
JSON?
Have I been there? What are you talking about? So I want to say this, you guys. First of all, happy Friday, happy holidays. Hello. This is. I think we're gonna make this the last one of 2025. Is that right?
I think it has to be.
I think it has to be. So the funny, cool, awesome thing is that, and Simon and I have been talking through his 5G connection for the last like 2 hours about other stuff because his internet was shot, completely gone. And literally, I'm like, we gotta go. And
Don't live on an island.
unless you're Caleb Porzio. That'd be okay because of the islands, Livewire 4.
Yeah.
But he literally, his internet just came back up. So I am prepared to run the show if it drops. I don't know what I'll do. I don't know how to push buttons. I like testing things out. So I figured I'll figure it out.
I'm gonna be here talking and like it's gonna be quiet because I'm talking so much and you're not gonna say anything and I'm gonna be like not hear that I've gone offline for like 10 minutes. And I'll be like, can you hear me? And then wait for 30 seconds for a response and be like, oh, it's broken.
It's the Shane show. We'll figure it out. Yep. Dave.
The Shane show.
Dave. Oh, you know what? Oh my God. I'm not signed in appropriately so that I can like do my host tools, and I'm not going to sign out and come back in.
Lol. No, that's
so the one that
so
Dave
that means
said,
it's all over to me to do the host thing.
Yeah. Shoot.
Which one do you want me to highlight? The first or the second?
The second. Dave, I have one, and my son used it, and I don't know where it is, and I wanna go. I wanna go find it. Hey, Dave. Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing today?
We've got some fun stuff we're gonna do today. I can go like this. Let's go like this. This will be this is my holiday. I look like Fred Durst. Probably worse than Fred Durst. This is not good.
A slightly more handsome version.
Aw, that's true.
Slightly. Are you saying that because you got a little bit older yesterday?
I did. Oh my God, it feels like forever ago. I didn't even. It didn't even feel like a birthday. I did have a good day. I'll tell you what I did. Yesterday was my birthday. Yeah. I am 27.
Good.
And I did a little bit of work. I did a little bit of sleep.
If you were 27, you wouldn't know who Fred Durst was.
That's probably true.
Your lies don't hold water.
Yep. Hot dog water?
Yeah. Oh God. Salty and sausagey.
Yeah.
Carry on.
I took a shower in the middle of the day. I went on the day before yesterday. I went to the gym. I didn't work out, but I went to the gym. Just checking out the ladies there. No, I went and I went swimming. I love to swim, and I did some laps, and I did some exercise. I went in the sauna for a little bit, just a little nice treat for myself. I took a shower, and then here's the thing. God knows me, apparently, because my favorite day is a very dreary, rainy day, and I can just like fall asleep, taking a nap or something like that. And that's
With the
exactly what
pitter
happened.
patter of the rain.
Yeah. I took a
Oh.
shower. I got out of the shower. I laid on my bed for a minute and I fell asleep for like 2 full hours. And then I woke up. It was complete silence other than the rain. My windows, the blinds were open and I could just see the rain coming down and just sat there for like an hour alone, quiet with my own thoughts. And it was like, I haven't done that in so long. It was very, very, very nice. It was very nice. And then I did some work because I like to work. And I didn't do too much. It was all surface level, just fun stuff that I like to play with and
Well, we're
got
winding down
some.
now, the end of the year now.
No. What are you talking about? Winding down. As much sleep as I got, and I got a full, like, I think I did get like 8 hours last night, this morning, whatever.
Wow.
I still need to catch up. So next week I'm gonna rest. I am gonna rest a little bit, but no, winding down. No, we've got a lot going on. A lot. How about
Talking of
you?
rain, yeah, talking of rain, I was last weekend here. It was like a tropical storm. It was properly torrential.
Whoa.
And everybody was like going crazy in the days leading up to because they all said, there's a storm. I think they called it Amelia, Storm Amelia. Um,
Do you guys sell all the bread in the grocery stores? Is
no,
it sold out?
it's like everything's boarded up. It's just like
Yeah.
there's a little bit of wind, a little bit of rain, and they're all like,
Oh
"Ooh."
my god. Yeah.
No, I mean, it was bad. It's not the worst storm I've been in, but it's the worst storm I've ever seen here. And boy, oh boy, they do not know how to cope with it. Like there was stuff everywhere for 2 straight days,
What do you
full
mean
on
stuff
mess.
everywhere?
Like stuff trees that had blown over,
Oh.
panels that had blown off of buildings, a friggin' table out of somebody's balcony, like a 4th story balcony, had blown off their balcony. So it had been lifted up and over the rail and was down in the courtyard of like the complex that I'm in. I was like, sure glad I wasn't walking through there when that happened.
Yeah. And this is all right. So I learned this when we were on the bucket together. The Canary Islands have nothing to do with the canary birds. It's
Nope.
canines. These are
Correct.
these are dogs. There's a lot of dogs on the island. Where do the dogs? How do the owners take their dogs out for a little walk to do their business if there's tables falling from the sky?
You're asking all the right questions, but you're
Yeah.
asking the wrong person.
Oh,
I looked
you just
outside and I went,
dangle your
"It's
dog on a
gonna rain.
leash,
It's gonna rain."
Michael Jackson
Let's.
style,
I just
from the
basically
balcony.
ran with the dog. I'm like, "Dog, grab the dog, run downstairs, do it now, otherwise it's not happening for the rest of the day." And then
That's
I
what you
managed to
think.
literally every time I've gone out and it's been raining, like I've just like it's either just finished raining or it's just starting as I'm going back in. So I'm like, this is my luck has changed because a couple of years ago it happened and it was beautiful sky, clear. I was like, I'll take the dog out for a walk. I take the dog out within the space of like 5 minutes or less. Weather completely changed and it was just like horrid downpour. And I was like shorts and t-shirt, not ready for it or
Wow.
anything. And I stood under a tree and I still got soaking wet. And I was like, I'm
Just
never
happy to
doing
see
that
me.
again. Yeah. I didn't know you back then.
Oh,
That's weird. That's weird to think about. Um,
that's how good we
but
are for each other.
yeah. Uh, and the worst thing about going out when it's wet with the dog is the dog gets really wet.
Oh.
So when you get back, you got to clean the dog. Oh,
But he's not
he's
a
just
huge
shaking.
dog. You get a
No,
towel,
but
dry him up.
I'm complaining about something trivial. It's true.
No, I mean, no, not that's not what I'm saying. At least he's not a big dog. I'm not saying that's trivial. Wet dogs smell like wet dogs, and if they shake and then they get water all over wherever they've shaken,
Yeah,
then it's more mess to clean, and that's a pain in the ass. But
but
it is better than having a baby. Ask Pete.
mm,
How many times does he wake up in
Don't
the middle of
walk
the
the
night?
baby.
Not in this tropical storm, at least. Imagine the baby shaking.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson style.
It's actually really, really good most of the time.
Yeah.
So yeah,
How old is he?
I definitely I wouldn't trade it in for it. He's 5. He was 5 last week. No, yeah, last week.
Lots of birthdays. Someone else has a birthday coming up soon too. Who is that, Simon?
Mine is on Wednesday.
You have wait, your birthday? I wasn't even talking about you. Just kidding. Yeah. Simon's gonna be freaking 30 years old. It's a big 3-0. Huge 3-0.
I wish.
40
wish.
years old. Damn. If I
Damn.
could go back to 40.
It's
I feel
it's going every year. It gets further back.
be like this soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, happy early birthday to you, Simon. This is the last stream of the year, so it would be either late in January sometime or early now. So we'll do it now. Happy birthday.
Well, I thank you for your well wishes, and the same as last year, regardless of the age change and the hairline maneuvering. I am going to do very little, and I'm just going to probably have a little drink and go to bed.
That's the other thing. I had a Bailey's on ice this morning.
Oh yes.
I don't drink unless I'm with you. You know this. Like that's the only time I ever have any alcohol at all. But I had a Bailey's, and I did think of you. So, Dave. All right. So the truth is, Dave. Yeah, Mimi will be 40 on Wednesday, and I just turned 43 yesterday.
Yep. The truth comes out. The truth always comes out.
Yep. And I
Shocking.
feel it. I think from 42 to 43, I aged 5 years, at least 5 years. This year's been rough on the body.
Was like 4 of them.
It was.
Yeah.
It's all downhill from here, though, right? Not the best. We got show notes, man. You want to talk about some?
Well, I'm gonna post some of these messages, and we don't have to talk about them, but that's nice. Yeah,
broadcasting.
we want to keep going.
That looks like,
I think I'd still figure out a way to do it with some sort of pigeon or train, like some locomotive way of distributing the message.
smoke signals.
Yeah, exactly. I can make little paper airplanes and write little messages on them and send them out.
Could like SOS with dog barks. We'll make an app, dude. That doesn't require internet to send messages.
That's right. Morse code screen flashing for.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Actually,
semaphore.
Could do that. Some are 4, some are 5.
6, 7.
Yeah.
Why? Let's not talk about that. I don't even know why I said it. I knew immediately I'm going to be like, oh.
I didn't know that. Dave's going to be 43 in 3 months. I didn't know we were that close in age.
Oh.
You were born in 83, though. I'm still in 82, which means he's more of a millennial than I am, even though we both technically are millennials.
Yeah, young whippersnapper, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Camion, it's already plus 1 day. Counting.
Yeah. Oh, God. Only 364 more until I'm 44. Those are going to fly by. Yeah. We have a lot already planned for 20. I feel like 2026 is the year of native PHP. I'm already feeling it. I'm telling you. I think it's not just in my like what we've got cooking, which we can't really even talk about. We decided this is as far as I'm going to go.
We're not going to.
This is as far as I'm going to go, Simon. We talked about, he's like, Shane, you love to just spill the beans. And I'm like, I can keep my mouth shut. That's as much as I'm going to say about it. I am a blabbermouth. And, but we decided not to say anything about some really, we've alluded to a lot of things already on this channel. You guys have no freaking clue. You have no clue what we've got coming up.
I spent like 2.5 hours this morning recording a video of the thing that I've spent all week doing.
Yep.
And I whittled it down to like a 6-minute video. It's really annoying.
Got to get better. Well, it's repetitions, man. You get better. I don't love bragging. I do. I like. There's some things that I'm good at. That's one thing that I've gotten better at because I've got.
There are some.
Remember the
Yeah.
old YouTube? There are some. Thanks. The old YouTube. I had this other YouTube channel. It still keeps growing. There's still more subscribers on it. It's up to 3,000. Some. I don't ever post there though. No, I never post there. It's Laravel Online. Go check it out, or don't. I don't really care. But it gave me a ton of experience with recording, editing, figuring out lighting, figuring out how to like try to do as much in the recording as you possibly can so that there's less editing and practice. I mean, that's it. Looking right in the camera a lot, which feels awkward at first, but you can get better at it. And, stuff like that. Just cook. We're waiting for food to eat. I love that. Coding with RK. Coding with RK, by the way, this is not a spoiler because we've already talked about this. He's going to be in India. And he is going to, I've been talking to this dude now for almost a full year. He's been with Native since like really close to the beginning. Him and Kamyant.
Yeah.
Kamyant's in Italy. I don't think he's going to India, but these two guys, I've been talking for a while. I should say that. I should be more vocal about that because they've messaged me quite a bit. They're always asking for like sneak peeks, and I give them more than what I give, publicly other places, and they've been.
He tells you guys before he tells me.
I do that sometimes. I gotta beta test it, Yep.
Yeah. Just make sure it's good enough for Simon.
Yep. So somebody asked, and I would say it, but somebody asked if we're ready for questions yet, because today, as promised, we'll do it in a little bit. We got a couple, housekeeping things to go through, but we're wanting to take live questions, problems, solve issues. I'll share my screen. I don't have any problems with that. And like go through some stuff if some stuff needs to be gone through. I figured that'd be a cool little holiday party.
Interactive.
Right?
End of the year.
Interactive. Yep. So we'll get.
Is there anything that we want to get through before we go down that tunnel?
Yes. I think you have some notes. I have some notes on. There's not much work that I've done from last week for this next version, but there are some things. And I wanted to talk about that. So I'll just go into it and then I'll give you the floor to talk about your stuff. Number one.
Yep.
I think all of this is in Android. I think. All right. So number one, inside of the Android files, everything has a project declared. So you can have multiple projects inside of a single Android application. They all can talk to each other and all this stuff. They're all like namespace com.nativephp.example, right? And then another one could be com.simon.example. And they could they can share. They're totally separate kind of things. And when I first started putting this together, my assumption was because there are some JNI bindings, that's the Java native interface. That's how we are communicating between Java and PHP, essentially. It's through this JNI, these bindings. All of the functions there have to be namespaced to the package that you're running it in. And my false assumption was that needed to be whatever your app ID was. So you could be com.simon. whatever. And so what I have been doing this whole time, what everybody's been doing for Android, is there's a function when you do the run command that it goes through, it takes your app ID and it does a string replace all over the place to make sure that everything is lined up and it works. That's not necessary. There's literally one place inside of a Gradle file that has to be changed to declare that this is your app ID. Everything else can be com.nativephp.mobile. That's what it now is. So that it's going to speed things up a little. String replace is not a very long process unless you're on freaking Windows. Sorry, I hate Windows. So that might be significantly faster for you guys. But it also cleans things up quite a bit. It's less that we have to be responsible for, and that's done. So namespacing on Android, number one. Somebody reported that on my device it wasn't like this, but with the barcode scanner or the QR code scanner, the icons to close on some devices are falling behind the clock and the Wi-Fi and all that stuff. So I've changed that to update so that they are now, and I think that is actually on both. That's why I was like, I think that's going to actually apply on. I have to go back and check, but it might also be applicable on iOS as well. So it's just going to honor those insets that we defined. So the whatever the top bar area insets are. Also, they were using the old material symbols where now we have the TTF ligatures, the
Right.
icon itself, the 200 kilobyte whatever for icons. So I've replaced those with using those icons, which gets a little bit smaller in the whole overall scheme, but it's enough to say so.
Yeah.
Um,
I was just going to say about, I know this is like a slight distraction, but because you mentioned
I
the
love
that
distractions, dude. Look at me.
obscuring of the clock or, Wi-Fi symbols and whatever. Um, well, it's the other way around, isn't it, really? Like those things always come out on top if they're there. So your button gets blocked by, or your UI gets blocked by them. There is a thing where you can turn it off. So you can tell your app to tell the system to switch off that top bar, right? Like
There
hide it.
are, and there is a way that might be a good way to do it. So the way that actually, that's a good point. So the barcode scanner fires off a separate intent, and that's how all these things kind of work. It's an intent. It's a separate process. It's using the camera, native camera, and then it's using camera X under the hood, which allows you to theme it however you want to. And you've seen apps where it's like you have like a little maybe dashed rounded box in the middle, and that's where you have to line up a QR code or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so that's probably another thing I could look into versus just adding the padding. That's a good
Well,
point.
I was thinking just like that as a setting that your app can declare would be quite good. So like you could just have a
That's
config that says turn off the title bar or whatever it's called.
That's separate and that's already in place. That is in the config now for Android.
Oh, maybe I have never done it on iOS.
Maybe. We'll look at that. So look at that.
Yeah.
2.2.2 coming soon. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so you're saying you can potentially hide it on like a per request basis. I mean, not request, but
On different intents. Yes. Yep.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, cool.
That's cool.
Like think about like if you're like on a game on Android or something, you might be on the main home screen and you're like entering your whatever, and then you go to play the game and it boots up this separate sort of process that's full screen, fully immersive. There's no clock or Wi-Fi or any of that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Those can be separate. It's just not done
Cool.
like an HTTP sort of request, right? It's done through the native
Yeah.
mechanisms of these different intents.
Cool. Okay, carry on. Sorry for the
No,
side
it's
loop.
good. That's why I wrote notes down. It's good.
Good.
Not much more. There was like one small little thing we used to before in version 1. We were using a view binding, and now we're doing compose. So it was just like removing this one thing from an array of items that we're kind of bootstrapping. That's not necessary. So it's not a fragment anymore. It's compose, and they were both in there. So I removed that, which speeds things up just a little bit. And then the last thing, this one's kind of been bugging me since the very beginning. I just never went back to fix it. No one's really complained about it, but I was like, you know what? Let's do it. If I had my phone plugged in and I had an emulator running and I would run the run command, it would actually install the app on both devices, but it would just boot the one that I chose earlier in the run command. You select which device you want to do this on, but it would actually install it on both. And if you're testing different versions of the same app on different devices or one an emulator, you're trying to make them communicate with each other or something that they want to be separate, you just overwrote both of them regardless. So that's number one. the way that it's done the most clean is instead of doing assemble debug, it's just doing an assemble. What the heck is it? It's like assemble install. That's not what it is, but it just installs the app. And then so assemble debug would install it, push it to the application and start it. Now we are just pushing it to the device, and then in a separate command we are starting it on that. So it's a little bit cleaner. It's actually a lot cleaner, and I like that that it's actually two separate things, because with the assemble debug, the issue that I had with the Windows stuff back in when I was fixing Windows for version 2 and all that was a lock file issue. Like files were just getting locked. This actually solves that the right proper way versus I mean, not that what I had done doesn't count for anything. It absolutely does. It optimized quite a bit of items there. What we did was updated Gradle to the latest version, and which had better support for Gradle caching, and now we are honoring the cache instead of deleting the cache every time and all that stuff. So it's definitely optimized, but this actually gets rid of that problem completely on Windows. So that is version 2.3 that will go out probably maybe today, if not today, tomorrow, something like that.
Yeah,
but it'll go up pretty soon.
Sweet. That's
good.
it.
That's all my news.
Cool. Okay. Well, I don't want to take up loads of time with other stuff because we shouldn't go too far over today. And we want to leave as much time as possible for everybody to join in, let's do fixing some stuff or talking about some stuff. But couple of really quick things. So this week I'd set like the sort of threshold of let's get a couple of apps in the showcase before we actually publish the showcase, so that it's not an empty showcase, because the empty showcase would be very like sad. And now there's a few apps in there. So the showcase is showing on nativephp.com.
I gotta look at this thing.
So
is there a link?
nativephp.com/showcase.
Is there? We should have a link on the page, no? On the homepage?
It's in so it's in the menu. Like if you go to the mobile menu, you can get to the mobile showcase. If you go to the desktop,
oh, okay, I gotcha.
So nice. It is there. It's just not like super evident right now. But the thing is, the showcase is obviously it's going to be great when there's loads and loads and loads of apps in there. But right now there aren't. And so the cool thing that I'm actually more excited about is that people submit to the showcase. So submit some stuff to the showcase.
There are hundreds of apps that are out there. So we know that yeah, we just got to advertise this a bit more. Oh my God, you guys, we have a surprise. We have a surprise guest today. Put this in your ear.
Hello.
Simon Harrison. Look, we got like 30 people here watching. Say hi. They got people in India. We got people in Italy, and Dave lives someplace, I'm sure. He's up in Connecticut, I think. Mm-hmm. And so this is Carson. This is my boy. This is my young man. He's so he had a half a day of school today because it's the last day of school before the break, and he just got home. He just got off the bus. Yeah.
What are you going to do now with the rest of your day?
Pack for the trip.
It's going to take you the whole day to pack. Huh? Oh.
So we're going to Costco, and that's about it. Dave does live someplace. Mm-hmm. Hi, boy. Belgium. Look at this guy. Belgium. Oh, Christoph's in Belgium. I thought you were in France, Christoph. No?
Shane 2.0.
The better version. That's so funny. Tommy Up lives in Italy. We remember when we went to the Silent Planet show, and I was talking to the guy. That's him. That's him.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Just say like version 2 doesn't necessarily mean better. It just means it's got more features. Some bugs might be
Bug
fixed as
fixes.
well.
Bug
Yeah.
fixes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Jigger's in India. We're gonna be hanging out with him at Laracon in India in like just over a month from now. Coding with RK. He's in India. Yeah.
Family secret.
That's it. Yep. So there you go, you guys. You get to meet him. So he just got his permit, and his birthday's coming up as well, December 29th. We got a birthday for Carson.
Goodness me, all these December babies.
I know. He thinks I'm a baby.
He does
All
call
right.
you
You
baby
are.
sometimes.
He does call me baby sometimes.
I do. How do you know
So-
that? Are you listening in to all of our conversations?
All of them.
I can just
So
tell.
the not so family secret. Yeah, I can
It's
just
going to
tell.
be family
Very
at some point.
It'll be family at some point. All right, run along. I'm taking
I
this. Say
love you,
goodbye
kid.
to everybody.
Baby Shane. I do have a native PHP shirt. I can get it.
He does. 6'7". Hey, close my door.
I love that kid.
I'm a little partial. Yeah.
So yeah, so really quick now because I've like lost a few minutes.
Sorry.
No, so it's all good. So there was a GitHub app permissions update that happened this week. So a bunch of you who are on Bifrost and you've connected your GitHub accounts. You connected the GitHub app for Bifrost into your GitHub account. You will have got a notification about that. I was going to talk about that on the show. Like, what's it for? Why are we doing it? What's all these things? But I can't now because we've embargoed ourselves. So I'm not gonna say too much. It is related to the things that I've been working on this week. It's very cool stuff, and what's going to come out of it, I think everybody's going to really like. But you shouldn't worry. If you're worried about any of it, feel free to reach out on Discord and I will put you at ease. But those permissions are just additional for when that thing becomes available. You can turn it on if you want to.
Everyone's going to use it and everyone's going to love it and it's going to be awesome.
It is. There's two other things on the website, maybe three, in fact, because I actually want to ask you a question. So first thing, I've been working on GitHub integration on the website as well, completely separate to what I've just been talking about, so that we can make the process of getting access to the NativePHP mobile repo for Max license holders easier, because it's not particularly easy right now. So that should roll out maybe next week, but you'll see when you log in, if you've got a Max license, you'll get a connect to GitHub thing. Which you can use if you want to, if you don't already have the connection to the repo, etc. That will show up and offer you that opportunity. That's coming. There's also a potential new feature which is tied up to kind of pricing. Not really, but I've been doing some work with Open Collective to try and make it so that we can get people who sponsor can come through to the website and get a license. Now, we've kind of talked about this a little bit in the past. We never really finalized it, but I kind of feel like it would be cool to give people who sponsor, rather than necessarily having to pay for a full like Pro or Max license, they could get a mini license. What do you think, Shane? Do you think that's a good idea?
No. I think it's a great idea. Our mantra is to get this into as many people's hands as possible and pay our bills. Like, we're just trying to pay our bills. And I work, I mean, it's not to, we both do. We both are doing like 15 plus hours a day, 6-7 days a week, 6-7 days a week. You know, like, I feel like that's, I feel somewhat of an obligation to do that, just for the people, the respect for the money that they're paying, and always looking to improve, et cetera, and all that. So like, our heart though is to get this as affordable as possible for as many people to come into it, to build great things, to talk more about it. Because honestly, and we talked about this a few times, and we mentioned it on stream before, the people are like, how can I help the project? Tell more people about it. That is like, I've only got one voice. I've only got a couple thousand followers on X. You've got a few thousand more than me, but still it's, it's limited. And that's why
It's
we're
not very
doing
much.
stuff like this. Other people talking about it is the biggest and most important thing. So if it's, if they're doing something through Open Collective, we give them a license. Cool, no problem. That's helping pay our bills some, and now that's empowering somebody else to build native apps with PHP, and they can go and tell more people about it. So
Yep.
Yep.
So I basically, what I've been thinking is like, you can give once, you can give monthly, you can give any amount, and once you've done that and that gets pulled up on I'll say our end, on nativephp.com, you'll be able to claim your free. It'll be a mini license, right? So, and it's a free license, but it's because you're getting access to it because you've sponsored. And you don't have to have Bifrost. You don't have to pay for one of the other licenses to get it. So anyone can sponsor us for any amount, for any length of time, and you will get a mini license. And that's on Open Collective. I think it's Open Collective /NativePHP. Let me just check this link before I post it, because yes, that works. Cool. So, support the project, support us, trying to make it available to more people. Get yourself a free mini license, air quotes. What else? Oh, the final question for you is related to that. I've had quite a few people now come to me asking for like trial licenses. So could they just get access to the library and try it out for a short period of time? Do you think that's something that we should do?
Yeah, so I think that how do you say this? Not advertised as such, but if somebody reaches out to us, then we can hook them up on the side. And the reason why I say that is because we are working on some things around being able to try without the license. So like there's already going to be mechanisms soon where people can do stuff like that. So I don't think that it's really necessary to do that. Maybe right now until some of these things are done, but it's not advertised, because then we're unadvertising, and that's just more work to go put something on someplace and then undo it in a month or two anyway. And so I would say, like, if you're watching this and you want to try it out and you don't have a license, message us. That's the most advertising that we're going to do around it.
Yep, I agree with that. Cool. So that's it from my side. Like, the little bits of nativephp.com updates are done. And I haven't done much on the framework side this week, because I've been knees deep in other cool stuff. So,
and it's going to be like that. We tried to do a new version or minor every Friday, but we're not going to force it, right? We're not going to make things up to do, especially if we're busy working on some other stuff that are very future. And we're going to be going back into Bifrost and cleaning up a bunch of stuff there. Actually, if you don't mind, somebody asked about the plugins.
let's dive into it.
Neon Osrati. I don't know how to say that, but if you want to tag that one.
Yeah.
And then the message before that, we could talk about that stuff, because I think we can go into like question answer anyway. Plugins. What is the future of plugins? What about paid plugins? All right. So this is actually something I want to talk to you about too, because I've been thinking about this a lot. And it's not just plugins, but it's about stripping out what we have in our app now into plugins, which will be a breaking change. Is that something that we should tag a version 3 on when this happens? Because it could happen a lot sooner than what we were kind of thinking, anticipating, because it is going to. Yeah. So just for example, camera, microphone, location, biometrics, all of those things should be not baked into native PHP. Those should be opt-in only things, because that is code that is in your binaries that the app stores are detecting, and people are saying now, hey, you have camera code in your application, you have location code in your application, but you did not provide permission strings for this. And they're like, I don't even need location, I don't even need camera for my app, it's something totally separate. And I'm like, you're right, but the code technically lives there. The right thing is to make those plugins opt-in only, and then you provide permission strings. If we do that, we're stripping those out of native PHP, which means breaking changes for people that, yeah. So that's a deeper conversation, but.
Well, I mean, I think there's a simpler talk about plugins. I would say is it Neon Osrati or
Osrati.
Neo Nosrati?
Neon OS. It's the Neon OS Rat Eye.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think there's a maybe like a simpler level, a higher level of discussion just generally around plugins that we maybe want to get into just for like 5-10 minutes. That specific issue, my take on it is we don't need to yank all of the stuff out of native PHP.
Not all of it.
Just to build the plugins feature.
No.
Right.
No.
Like we can add the ability to add plugins without stripping all this other stuff out. So I think we just time the stripping of that stuff out as a V3 whenever it makes sense for us to do a V3. And just, yeah, it's a proper breaking change. A bunch of other good features maybe come along with that, and everybody's aware, and, you know, we give fair warning. And I would say, you know, we're saying it now, we're having this conversation. So this is kind of part of that warning. It's going to be at least a few months from now, you know, like it's not going to happen in January. It's probably not going to happen in February. I would say at least the end of Q1 2026 will be, you know, ripping some of that stuff out.
That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Point in time.
I think that it should be technically sooner.
Well, yeah, I think we have to not do it sooner so that we're not releasing major versions too often.
No, so like we were saying, like right now, we're not going to push every Friday necessarily just to do it because it's Friday, a new version. We're not going to force things that don't make sense to, but additionally, the converse should be true as well. If something makes sense to earlier than what people like to see a new version come out, big whoop. If it makes sense to do it,
yeah.
I don't care if it's every other day. Technically, I don't like that, but it makes more sense to do that now.
Well, I mean, V2 was kind of strange because there weren't really any significant breaking changes. Like there was nothing that was going to impact it was going to force you to change your code too hard. So future breaking changes, like, you know, major releases might contain more of those kind of breaking changes. So we definitely need like a schedule for those things, so that it doesn't become a burden. Because if we are just like, you know, one random Tuesday we make we make a release that has a bunch of breaking changes, and then like 3 days later we make another one, that's not really good planning. So and that is painful for people. So I think there does need to be a routine to it, and they shouldn't be too close together, and we should be able to plan that out. But yeah, I take your point though. I think that we shouldn't worry about the exact timing and like trying to fixate on what that should be right now, because that might be the only major breaking change that we do for a long while, potentially, if we get it right. So yeah, it might be better to just rip the band-aid off and get it done.
That's the other thing I had thought of too. I mean, until like some of the other stuff we had talked about with true native, and like really going really deep into, and that's what it's like, man, it's kind of like get it out of the way, rip it off like a band-aid, so we can spend less time on these APIs, get the community building stuff out, and that's self-serving on that side, and that lets us put more attention and time into these core things that will bring way more beneficial changes for everybody in everything. If we don't have to
Yeah.
build out Bluetooth, and instead we can get shared memory between PHP and Java or C, right? Like in some of these way more fundamental. And that's where I feel our place should be, is not in the APIs. It is in the core foundation of
Yeah. Making it great.
making it amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
I agree with that. Okay, let's do that. So, high level on plugins, just for a few minutes.
Yeah.
My take is, we're looking to offload, as you've just said, a lot of there'll be some core plugins that are first party that I think is going to make a lot of sense for us to build out for whatever reasons and make available as first party plugins. But I think the vast majority will become community plugins, right? And that people will have the ability to write some Swift and Kotlin code and some PHP code and wire it all together very, very easily, bundle that up as a composer package and
Deal with
distribute
their
that.
own support tickets.
Yeah, all of the stuff, and distribute that through Packagist or some other means, and people will be able to really easily install those into their projects just by doing like composer require, and then maybe just like a simple additional line to a service provider or something, just to like opt into that package's plugin, and bring it into your application. And then some configuration perhaps that they will have to do, like keys that they need to set or whatever
Well, that's
else.
going to be dependent on each plugin. So each
Yeah.
plugin author will say, look, they can publish their own config, and then there's some Bluetooth config that guy created or something like that. And
Yeah.
I think too, part of that is we are going to, so anybody can just create plugins. We're going to have our own marketplace. We are not going to just let everybody and everything in. We're going to test things out ourselves. We're going to make sure things are compatible. They'll be like more officially sort of approved, not fully. Like we're not going to test on 100 different Android devices or anything like that. But
No, that's not feasible.
we also don't want 33 Bluetooth or camera or video recording packages in the marketplace. If they do clearly distinctly new things, fine, but we're not just saying it's a free for all. Anybody can just add stuff here. We'll be approving things. It's very similar to what Filament does. They have an approval process.
Yeah. So the thing there is, like, anybody can build anything they want and distribute it however they like. The marketplace is really just like,
it's a distribution
we
channel.
have it on the nativephp.com, and if you want to get your package to be listed on nativephp.com, you would submit it to us and we would review it, and then we would decide whether or not it can go on there. And that could be that you've got a free plugin that you do ship through Packagist, and you just want it listed on nativephp.com as like one of the packages that does that kind of thing that you want to do. And we can list that for you, and people will still install it through Packagist and all of that kind of thing. But then there could be also paid packages, right?
Yep.
So this Filament does this as well, where they use AnyStack. We've been using AnyStack for kind of distributing native PHP for mobile. So you could list with AnyStack. So you would distribute your package through AnyStack rather than Packagist, right? And then you would join. I think the way that Filament do it is you join the Filament affiliate program in AnyStack. So you apply to the affiliate program, and you have to submit your package to the website through the Filament repo at the moment, I think is how it's done. Or yeah, there's some weird setup there, but we would have it do through like a web form, on nativephp.com. So you'd sign into your account, you'd submit the details of your package, and you would decide, is it paid, and therefore through AnyStack, and then you'd have to apply to the native PHP affiliate program through AnyStack. Bless you.
Thank you.
And then if you've got all of those things right and the package looks good, and we decide that we want to list it, oh gosh,
I'm good. I'm
nearly
good.
blew me away.
You're welcome.
If we're happy then to list it on the website, we will list it on the website. And we will just take a cut of the sales that go through from us through AnyStack. So it'll be a very modest shared revenue scheme, basically. And so your package will essentially promote itself through nativephp.com.
I want to say a couple of things about this. Where we're headed overall with this project, a year from now, we are anticipating a multitude more people in these live streams, in everything that we're doing, than what we have now. And I have a big heart for like empowering those that have been part of this since early days, which I still consider right now is still early days. There will be a way to make money. Okay. There will be a way for you to make money building apps, putting it in our marketplace. And we want to get this feature done and into your hands, possibly even before it's released. So you can start building incredible things so that when the marketplace, when we announce the marketplace, there's already dozens of plugins that are there, some free, some for sale. And that means that the earlier you get in, the better your chances. If you go and build some ML kit plugin and it's good enough to go in here, that's going to open up the door, a big path of revenue for you for a year, 2 years, 3 years from now. This like recurring revenue that you passive sort of income that you can make doing this. So that's number one. I think that I think everybody's kind of excited about the idea and the opportunity here. So I don't have to really try to sell that, but it's just something to keep in mind. Like the sooner kind of the better for some of these things. Number one, I wanted to answer Christoph's couple of messages that he's got here. So can we integrate by ourselves and bypass the approval? 1000%. So as you're building out, if I understand your question properly, which I think I do, you can make this on packages and distribute on your own or not distribute it at all. It can be a private package that you just create and you require into your application. That's how I built all the plugins that I've currently been like dogfooding, building the plugin system itself by building plugins. It's just, there's a command, and I'll give a really cool demo at some point. Maybe the next time we come on. Actually, that'd be really fun.
Yeah,
but you just do PHP artisan native plugin create, and then it will take you through this wizard essentially of asking, all right, what do you want to call this plugin? What's the namespacing of it? What is, like all of these things. And it creates a packages folder for you, and it stubs out just some template stuff for you. And then I always just go with AI, and just because I have agents building everything for me, I have a really cool Claude Code plugin that knows everything about the plugin system, and you just kind of explain what you want the plugin to be, and it just goes and it starts it. What's nice is at that point, you just like in your application, you compose or require that package that you're generating, and you spin up just an app that is going to integrate or test those functions that you're building. And you just start building stuff and talk to Claude Code and say, this is what's breaking, this is what needs to be fixed, or I want it to be like this instead. And you got a plugin, and it's ready to go. It's got a test folder stubbed out, so you can write tests for everything, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, you can make these like just proprietary to yourself and just have them in your own apps and not distributed. You can just distribute your own channel. You can make your own marketplace if you want to. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. It just wouldn't be our marketplace, which will have all the distribution. That's where people would go to. I can't name one filament plugin that's not on the filament site. So Do you want to go through a couple of these questions and then get to? We've got like half an hour left for doing the. Well, I guess this is kind of Q&A. We can look at some problems too if people are having issues.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to point at any issues as well, then we can dive into all of that as part of this. Yeah. So this one, I mean, that's quite long actually. Sorry, but I've got a custom mod which fires an event when the back button is pressed. So I can send the user to the correct page up the tree. Each native fresh overwrites changes. How do I get that feature into core?
That is interesting, and I would like to talk to you about that. Hit me up on Discord. Just DM me on Discord about this, and I want to see, because there's been some issues. Some people have reported some of this stuff because the navigation stack is different in a mobile situation than on a web situation, and so people are expecting certain behavior when they hit the back button they're not getting. And it's like, do we just wait until we go full native and integrate it the native way, or do we try to hack the web view to respond according to what the app should be? And there's looking at like capacitor docs and stuff and their APIs. They have like a way to basically like you just fire an event when the back button's hit and let the developer do whatever they want to with that. And I think that's kind of along the lines of what he's talking about here. So
yeah, I think like extrapolating a more general thing from that is like I've seen quite a few people do custom mods to their Swift, Kotlin code, and then they're worried about, well, the native install that we have to have so that we get you can get the latest version of the code is going to overwrite what you've done. And there isn't really a way around that at the moment. So the one angle is to say that you could have sort of hooks at different points in time where you could inject some code. And that's really what then led to plugins, because, well, if you're doing this like injecting code in here, you might as well formalize that into something that's well understood and well supported. So that's a plugin system. So that really comes to like, if you want custom functionality that's not provided, it'll be through the plugin system. But if you're finding that it's not sort of possible with a plugin, or you are just like reaching to mod some of the core files, I would say definitely reach out to us, because that sounds like it might be a good candidate for it to be included in the core feature set for everybody anyway. But I would say 80%, 90% of the time, you're going to do it through a plugin eventually. So when that's ready, and that'll be the way that you save your bacon with that.
there's some good stuff in here, a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, let's do this one. Any plans or possibility of a single code base for both mobile and desktop? In my experience, source code is nearly identical. We make it responsive by default, so this is the thing holding us back. I'd like to take that one.
Okay.
We've done, actually, Willem's done some work on this for like the V2 of desktop release, and right now it kind of looks like they would clash and they wouldn't work together, so you couldn't have them in the same package. But actually some of the work that he did would enable them to work together more cleanly than they've ever been capable of doing before. And there is just like a little bit of resolution that we need to figure out. Like, we've got a config file that both packages, desktop and mobile, both look for the same config file, and we would just need to change that. Or find a way to blend the two.
Because we did talk about
the only thing,
like a native PHP directory in config, and then having Android and iOS possibly, because they're starting to both grow independently to a point where that might warrant it. A mobile, because there's some that's global mobile, and then maybe a desktop.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. If you're done, I will just add to that if you're not done, I'm about to add to it anyway, and then you can come back. But
Yeah.
we know that this is something that people want, and there are some technical hurdles that we have to overcome to get there. It wasn't in the thought. It was never a thought when building desktop for Simon and team that a mobile package or mobile, like initially it wasn't even a thought. It might be someday later, but you never build things really that way. You build it for now and making it work and that kind of thing.
Yep.
Now and then when building mobile, it was like, this is not desktop, so we're not even considering it being in the same place. However, we know that this is a way that competitors are building and allowing developers to build, and we do want to be on par with that. It will take some work. There's a lot of other priorities that we have before that, but we do want to achieve that at some point when we can, right? Like when we can, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I would say I'd add to that just to say, the desktop side is completely open source and it's completely driven by like the whatever sponsorship and time that we can spare to support it. And the time that the community can spend on it. So like if you figured out how to do it and you can just do it from the desktop side, and I'm sure there is a way to sort that out so that it somebody could just make a PR to desktop and now everything works together. That would be great. Like frankly, then you solved it for everybody, and that would be fantastic. So I'm confident that it's possible. I haven't needed it. I don't think anybody else has reached for it and then wanted to like put the effort into making it a thing for everybody yet. So maybe soon that will just happen naturally. I mean, if you're reaching for that now and you're bumping into those things and you're sort of solving those problems, feel free to make a PR to the desktop package and make it available for everybody. Big wins all round. Next one. Will native plugins be somewhat related to Composer packages?
Easy. They'll be exactly related to Composer package. That's how you'll use them as a Composer require. And then as it is right now, it's actually not opt-inable or opt-outable, I guess. I do have to wire that up to like a service provider array of plugins that you want. There's actually a mechanism inside of Composer where you have a type defined, and we can, when you do a Composer update or Composer require, we can find all of those and just run commands on them, including like, I have a command now where I just say, hey, list all of the plugins that are
like
installed.
discovery. Yeah.
And that's what Laravel does. It's framework discovery stuff. So we can absolutely, that's already built in like that. And I don't know necessarily if there's a reason not to just go with that, at least initially, because then you just Composer remove it if you don't want it. And then if you want it later, you can just bring it back or whatever. And I think that forces people to not bloat their vendor directory as well.
My only concern with that would be if somebody built a nefarious, and this is giving the ghost away, but if you built a nefarious package that on the surface that package was fine, but actually it had a dependency, or somewhere in its nest of dependencies there's a nasty package, our thing wouldn't be able to distinguish, and it would just add it to your application, and then you'd start distributing that in your application. So I think it has to be explicit opt-in to installing these packages because of the risk. But they are just Composer packages, and we're doing all of the heavy lifting of like figuring out where to put the code and make sure that it sits in the right place and gets compiled into the application at the right time, and wiring up things like permissions and configs and all of that, so that it's not just, oh yeah, now the app is capable of doing this, but it's ready to go from here to production with plugin functionality that's been written by a third party. Cool.
Next.
What about payment integration?
Yeah, we're not going to build that into native PHP. That's either going to come from the community as a plugin, or we'll make it as a plugin, but it's not going to be
first
baked
party
in.
plugin. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Next.
Cool.
That's easy.
Probably already answered this, but dispatching an event from the native component so we can react to those instead of navigating somewhere. That has actually been on my list for a couple of weeks.
Same.
Yeah.
There actually is some support now for that. It's just not really wired up exactly. So that's the direction that we wanted to go, is to not make the URL required attribute or a required property on these navigation elements, but to have an event property. It's one or the other, right? It's a fire. You could do both. Technically, you could fire some event that's being handled by Laravel event listener, right? You just wouldn't navigate. Yeah, you could do both. Technically, you could do both. Technically, you could.
It just means that, like, in the components, we just need to add a way for you to tell it what event to fire when the tap event happens, right? At the moment, there'd be a whole bunch more of that kind of thing eventually. So yeah, we'll get we'll get our event system wired into those things at some point over the next few weeks, and
they kind of are. Yeah. So it's not far, and that's where we do plan to take it there. Yep.
I know some of it isn't in the right shape on iOS side, so I need to just like assess and make sure that it is. Can we use any payment gateway SDK?
With plugins, you'll be able to build anything that you can think of. Yep.
Is there a way to request device admin permission, like usage stats, screen time, etc.?
Yep. So here's the thing with plugins. Anything that the device allows you to do that you've seen in another app, I would say OS apps might have special permissions or special abilities, but I don't think that's actually true. I think that they expose all of that is exposable through however they do it, through some SDK. So
I would just look at it as like any of the public APIs that are available to Swift or Kotlin, you know, those are things that you're going to be able to wrap in a plugin and distribute, you know, either for yourself. Yeah, exactly.
It's like any of these SDK, there should be, and that you want to start. If I was a betting man, I would say go learn, be an expert in the health kit and on Android and iOS, and start thinking about. And again, some of the plugin stuff, we could make that branch. We could talk about it, like making that branch available to Max. Actually, it is available. The plugins branch is there.
Available. Yeah,
it is available. You can start playing with what's there now.
There's some polish that I think we should put on it just before, so that we, you know, like we officially get to the point where we say some early access people can start building plugins sort of reliably and without it breaking 5 minutes later.
It is subject to change still, right? All of that is.
But it's almost like we want a plugins beta, you know, where we just go, okay, this is, so it's basically not going to change now, and we're confident, and people with early access, whatever, max license access, can go and start playing around, and we'll get docs done and that kind of thing, and then people start building plugins early.
There's a
before we open it up to everybody.
Branch, it's plugins with a Z at the end. So I mean, if you have Max, there's nothing stopping you from looking at it.
Plugins,
but it's all subject to change and break and all that stuff. So,
yeah.
Next, it's Neo. It's Neo Nosrati. So,
where was I? Yeah, I can see the message. I can't reach it because the friggin' thing isn't scrolling down.
I can just read it.
Shane, will the plugins potentially be able to push limits from the limits of apps? Like, you think it's practical to use the God function to build plugins that allow watch apps or homepage widget?
Yeah, I do actually. So watch apps are a little bit different. I've only done a little bit of research into watch apps. Watch apps are apps that you install on your phone that then have this component of Bluetooth ability to push to and I'm talking specifically about Android. I haven't done anything on iOS yet. And there are ways to like just install apps on the watch itself, because some people just buy a watch and it's got a SIM card in it and they can like do stuff there. Usually though, it's paired with the device and you install it on the device, but then it has this mechanism to talk to the watch itself.
Mhm.
By the device, I mean on your phone, primarily. The God function is how all of this has been made possible. Simon is the Edison of our time with the God function. That's not an understatement. It has unlocked all of this ability. Seriously. Homepage widgets, anything like that. I mean, that's not my primary, like I'm not going to that, but inside of when you create an Android, and again, just talking about Android, there's a config file inside of each plugin. When you run the command to create that config file, it's just nativephp.json file. There's an Android array. Inside of Android, there's like permissions that the Android that you want to specify. There's intent filters that you might want to do. There's background services. And these are just blank arrays that you can put anything you want to in there that ends up inside of the Android manifest file. So anything that, and it puts it in the right spot, and that's all working. So anything that you can really think to do, we're just opening that door. It's a bridge between the two worlds. You just build it over here and we'll put it in the right spot. And that will allow it also in Bifrost when we do all of the stuff in the package. It's just going to work naturally. So that's why it's taking a little bit more time. It's really not taking a ton of time. Before AI, this could have taken a year to build out, but it's coming along pretty nicely. I just have to now we've got like the worldwide meetup is out of the way. I'm going to be spending a lot more time on this.
Yeah, I mean, it's going so fast. I never thought we'd be doing plugins after 6 months.
No, same. Who competes with native PHP? Good. I like that attitude, right? So there are, I mean, it's React Native and Flutter are the only, and just like going native, I guess AI, because now you're coding, you can do native stuff with AI pretty more easily, I guess. So yeah, I think that's the only competition that I would ever consider. And Maui, is that how you pronounce it? Or
yeah,
Maui.
Yeah.
There's a couple little.
It's an interesting take because they're not competitors really at all in two strict senses. One, none of them are doing PHP. We're on our own at the moment in doing PHP. So from that angle, we have no competitors. And the other thing is they're completely free. And so we're not competing with them on the same ground even. So they're just like, they're really not competitors at all, in the way that I see it. But the industry, sort of an objective view of these kinds of tools is, it's a cross-platform, cross-platform app building framework. So yeah, we get lumped in with them, and they're obviously a lot bigger than we are. And so there is, again, still no competition if you wanted to argue that there was any competition, because they're just huge, and have had very big teams of very smart engineers building them for years and years and years. So we've got a bit of catching up to do. But those are the ones that we would consider our competitors if you sort of tied our hands behind our backs and forced us to write with a pen in our mouths. So that's that.
I want to take them down so bad, by the way.
With the pen. Like,
it's sharper than the sword.
Do
that like 10 times. Happy Friday, folks.
Do you know if with an SDK we can appear in the share sheet?
Yep. So I'm going to say,
yeah, go on.
Simon actually created a PR for this, and I shut it down. I'm like, dude, this should not be here. This should be a plugin. It really should be a plugin. Could we put it out and then take it out again for you? We could do something like that. There is an argument to say, like, maybe this should be part of core. Maybe it should be. It doesn't require, I don't know if it requires any special permissions, or like manipulating the Android manifest or the plist stuff. Maybe it does.
It's certainly on the iOS side. It's a really unusually beefy piece of work that requires a lot of additional stuff to be put into the right place. So I don't know, and I can kind of imagine this being something. I don't think it requires more permissions, and I do kind of imagine it being something that every app could benefit from, but it could be packaged up as a plugin. The sense that I have is, as we move towards what you were saying earlier, like V3, we strip everything back. People will want the core to be as simple and
Slim.
small as possible.
Yep.
And then you only add what you need for your app, rather than carrying around the weight of all of the stuff. And it's kind of interesting because I've been thinking about this whole thing of like, well, it's nice that we can ship all of these things and anyone can access them with just like a config option. It's kind of opinionated, like Laravel. It comes with all of this, batteries included kind of stuff. But the difference in this world is sort of palpable. Is people want their apps to be as small as possible. They don't want to be carrying this code around because you're delivering it to everybody's device, and that's like eventually gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes of bandwidth that's being used and disk space that's being used. And so yeah, actually having it be the smallest it can be as the starting point is the right thing to do. We just then got to do the heavy lifting of how do we make it so simple for people to install these plugins and they work reliably and it does everything that they want it to do. And it just, that kind of thing is just going to be a different kind of shaped plugin, because it's not as simple as I just chuck some code into the existing Xcode project on iOS, because you actually have to stand up like a separate Xcode project by the side, and it's a bit weird, but it will be doable, and I think it will make sense as a plugin. So that's the way that we should go. Let's do this one. Since working on this stuff, what has surprised you the most about Android or iOS, good and bad?
You go first. I have to think about this a second.
One of the things that surprised me the most is, and this is a good thing, Swift as a language is actually really nice. I've been writing a lot of Swift this year, and it's elegant. It's got good syntax. In fact, there was something I was watching about a recent release of Dart has brought over a feature from Swift that I actually really like. I can't remember what they call it, but it's this sort of, it will understand the prefix. So you can do enums in like a namespace thing. So you can have like imagine a class, and it's just got properties, and you use dot notation to access those properties, right? But for enums, so like we have an enum now, and we do the enum name and then colon. In PHP, you do enum colon, and then the value of which item in the enum you actually want to access. So there's the same principle in those languages, but then when you have to like type hint the enum on a function that is going to receive an enum value. So you're going to select one of the enum items and pass that into a function as a way to configure what that function is going to do, as you would do. You can shorthand so that you don't have to type the prefix or write the prefix. So you can just pass dot and then the item name. So if you think about that in PHP equivalent, you would just do colon instead of the first bit. So if you had a enum that was named enum and you did enum colon, you wouldn't have to do the enum bit. You could just do colon, and then the item name and pass that into the function. And that's all because the compiler knows the type of the enum at call time, so it can infer that you mean that enum
Oh, that's
class.
interesting. Is that it's
And
dot notation though, right? In C?
it uses dot notation, so it's simpler, it's cleaner. You just
Swift.
have the dot and then the
I've seen
enum
that
item
all over
name.
the place, and I'm like, how in the hell?
Yeah.
Because you'll have like this like curly bracket. It looks like an object basically, open and close, and with like some logic inside. And then after that, it's dot something else, and it's like, what the hell
It's
is?
the
How is
enum.
it knowing this? It looks kind of strange at first, but that's
It does.
pretty smart.
When you know what the method accepts, you know what type it accepts that argument, then it all makes sense. You just go, oh, it's just shorthand. Those kind of things are quite cool. Obviously, the other big element to it is this is systems programming, and you have a whole different beast to deal with things like memory and threads. You know, we were talking about threads last week.
Hi, Craig.
And it's so interesting, and it's so like the reason I've lost some hair is because of this. You know, like it does make you pull your hair out at times, but it's fun as well. I think the big thing is like it's hard. It's something that I never expected that I would do within my career because I've always been mostly PHP, and it's like daunting, but it's also fun. That's my take.
I was talking to my dad last night. I've got almost 15 years of experience as a developer, and I kind of use the analogy. You've seen those posters where it's like the iceberg is, you know, you've got 20% is above the surface of the water and the rest is below.
Yeah.
I feel like for almost 15 years doing web technologies, AWS certified, JavaScript, all the different frameworks, all the different CSS stuff that we've seen, really watching. And, you know, I was there when Laravel 5.3 came out with notifications and watching that be born as a first party thing that you can now do in Laravel and like all the other things too, right? And like how it really, all of these web technologies are really that 20% that's above the surface.
Yeah.
All of the systems architecture, all of the, you know, really getting down to like, I didn't know what a null pointer was. You know, I kind of still don't know what a null pointer is, but like managing memory in a system of an OS and like tapping into CPU usage and just all of that stuff, that I can really feel that's where the next 20 years of my career is going to be with this stuff, because there's so much depth there and there's so much to learn. I don't know if that's good or bad, to be honest. I think that it's just like, it's been a very big shift of mindset for me over the last year of like wrapping my head around and then wrapping that up in the way that we all like to think about things. So having the what's it called? The mindset of a Laravel developer, where we love everything to be nice and fancy, and I can just draw an arrow and point to the next thing that I want to add, and it's doing all this work underneath. I feel like it's really geared me up for making this a nice experience first for everybody that's going to be using this thing. So like Android and iOS development, good and bad. I think that what surprised me the most is how complex these systems are, and how much is actually going on inside of the device that you don't really pay much attention to until you have to start coding it. And I think that's good and bad. I think that kind of is both items. There's some good in there and there's some bad stuff in there too. It's complex, but it's also been around long enough that AI knows how to deal with stuff. So it helps.
I really want to keep talking about this particular topic because I know we haven't really got time and we've got loads of other things, but I've been reading this book, right? Rebel Ideas. This is the second time I read it this year. And in the context of everything that we've been doing, I kind of saw a lot of what's in there through a new lens. And there's this whole kind of chapter about, or section in the book about innovation and how people who are innovative are usually people who have come from different backgrounds, like fields of study and all of this kind of thing, and they recombine ideas across domains. So imagine like a designer who becomes a developer, and they're going to take some of their experience and through, maybe not even intentionally, they will just think about the problem spaces that they then find themselves dealing with from a different angle. And just by like fusing those two ideas together, they will create new solutions to problems that have never been thought of before by people who've only been looking at it from one angle. Sort of recombination. And we're doing that with the technologies, but we're also doing it on a higher plane, as you're talking about. Like, we're Laravel developers, and we're kind of reaching down to, you know, into the depths of this icy berg water and finding new stuff and just like bringing the two things together. Yeah. No, and I think it's like, I'm going to get really philosophical for carry on now. I'm going to put that down. It's really, really interesting because there aren't a lot of people. Oh,
I can feel it. My head shifting.
There's not a lot of people doing this stuff, and I've got to this place in the last few weeks where I'm thinking, like, wouldn't it be great if PHP could just do this or just do that? You know, like I still have the heart of, I want this to work this way in PHP, but now I have a little bit more of the experience of like, how do I actually make that happen? And PHP as a language actually needs more people to be like that, because it needs more developers who want to get into the core of the language and make it behave, you know, and change and evolve and all of that stuff. And I'm now starting to reach for, I should change the PHP core in this way so that it can do that, so that I can do this over here with Swift, you know, and it behaves in an expected manner rather than me having to come up with some kludge to make that work. And that's an interesting place to be from my perspective personally, because I never thought that I'd reach into PHP core and start making changes to, you know, the language that I'm using under the hood. So it's a massive like evolutionary step in my knowledge and career. And, you know, it's definitely worth trying to explore projects like this if you get the opportunity to do so. And now with AI, you can, it's so kind of easy
accessible
to start exploring. Yeah, exactly. Accessible is the right word. So don't be afraid to, you know, go ask ChatGPT, how would I do this? How would I do that? You get some surprisingly good answers. And when you try stuff and you realize that it works, and then you go, holy crap. Shall we move through some more questions?
Are there more? I see
There are.
one. Okay. Yeah.
Did we answer this one? About Livewire over inertia.
I have this bug. I'm trying to find, and I think I found it actually. We haven't talked about this. So I do primarily, for the last 5 years, Livewire. Recently, in the last couple of months, I started going back into Vue, inertia, really loving the experience. It's a lot faster on mobile, is my understanding. And inherently, it's going to be anyway, because you're just doing like small JSON payloads for navigation and all sorts of stuff. With Livewire, there's ways like Wire Navigate and stuff like that that you can sort of mimic some of that behavior, but you still end up with larger payloads regardless. Even if it is just a JSON payload, it is a little bit larger typically. I like Livewire more. I find a performance boost on my Android device, and that's the key, because I was using, all right, so this has been my thing, and I'm like, I'm digging, I'm like going crazy. Like you've seen that movie Mouse Hunt?
Yeah.
Back in the 90s, and they're like tearing up the whole house, this mansion, to find this mouse. And it's like, that's how I feel. I'm like going through everything. Go ahead. Is
is it Christopher Walken who's like
I
the
think
guy who
so.
comes in to try and catch the mouse
Yeah.
in the end?
And the guy from Home Alone with the hair that, yeah.
Yeah.
The one that gets the iron in the face.
Oh, is he in it as well?
I'm
Gosh.
pretty sure he is. Yeah, it's him and what's his name? I can see his face. The guy that plays the voice of Pumbaa on Lion King also did a lot of Broadway stuff.
Nathan Lee. Is it
Yep.
Nathan Lee?
Nathan something. I know it's
Lane.
Nathan.
Lane.
Lane.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's been me trying to find where the bottleneck is. And the bottleneck, I think, is actually the Android device that I have, because I've been using other apps, fully native, like from Google, and I'm
Yeah.
finding the same sort of delays with things.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good news.
There is no mouse. Possibly. I don't know. Like, now I have to really confirm this, and but it's forced me to go in, like in Android Studio. There's all these like profiling techniques and stuff that you can do to see how much RAM and how many threads and CPU usage and memory heaps and like all this other stuff that I never would have even thought to look for if it weren't for this. So it's opened my eyes to doing what was even the question? Livewire or inertia? I prefer Livewire. I do like inertia. I like Vue a lot as well. And that's I like both. I think right now for a while I would prefer to work with Vue and inertia. I've been finding that experience really, really nice when building out these apps. I really like the JavaScript library we did.
Yeah, I think there's like this compounding effect of the fact that we've got rid of the network, by running PHP on the device. Or really, just it's running the rendering. Well, no, it is more than that. But if you imagine like the basics of a PHP request, and then you add Laravel on top, and then you add Blade. Livewire is essentially Blade. It's doing all of this work just to then render the thing, and then there's a little bit of JavaScript, but so I have to go back through that request, do all of that work again, and then return, blobs of HTML. It's a lot of stuff that's going on. It's very fast on a good modern device, but it's still like when you take away some of that stuff that it's doing, as you'd expect, it's faster still. So when you layer on Vue or React on top of this, it does feel really, really snappy. Like you just have, and the web views are really quick at rendering the really small chunks of HTML and JavaScript and JSON and stuff that we're sending their way. And the devices are very capable of handling that. So it's just like the pages just appear to snap in as soon as you press the button, just like it is when it's a fully native application.
Yep.
And that perception is hard to beat. So for me, I mean, I really do like using Livewire, because I feel like I've been bitten by the JavaScript frameworks, even Vue to a certain extent. I like using Vue a lot, and I like using Vue 3, and I would be all in on it. I just haven't done enough with it over the last few years since Livewire really came out that I'm comfortable with it, and I think I would use that more, certainly. But I'm also kind of holding out for Livewire 4, because I do think that there's like some major benefits that can be had by improving the whole stack of how Blade does what it does. And when that's done and it's good, then I think we'll see. It'll never be as fast, in my opinion, as Vue or React, but it won't be far off.
Especially being on the device, like you said.
Yeah,
because it's not doing this request back to a server. It's right there. It's inches. It's less than inches.
And the way that I kind of see the way that this project goes as we move towards like the addition of fully native UIs is that the way that we expose that to the developer is going to kind of look something like Livewire. Not because I particularly like Livewire, but just that's the way it feels like. That's the PHP way of doing this.
I will tell you, that's exactly the way that it's going to go. It's exactly the way it's going to go. It's got to.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to look like, it's not going to be Livewire, but it's going to, that's the future of native PHP, is going to look like this.
Yeah. Caleb solved a whole heap of these problems. I don't think he will fully realize that for some while to come, but that is the template for doing that kind of thing in PHP. Like, nobody else is really doing that in PHP that I'm aware of. And it's a good solution, and it just needs refinement, from a performance perspective. But we will just layer it in. So instead of it's rendering HTML, it's, as we've kind of already started to do with Edge right now, it will render fully native components in some form, and the control plane of those will look like class-based components of, again, some form. So, yep. That's that.
I just thought of this. I mean, we should plan. There's some times we're going to be with each other this year. We need to plan like a week outside of any of these other things that we're already planning to do, that we're together.
Yeah.
We could just that space specifically and just like get that out. We kind of did that when you came here before Laracon, this year.
I don't think a week is enough, frankly.
I know.
I feel like it needs to be a couple of months. Yeah. If it could be a couple of months, then we'd be.
Or I'll go to you. It's a little harder for me with Carson, but
yeah,
it might be fun. Maybe this summer.
We'll figure something out.
We got to do it. You're right. Yeah, it should be more than a week. It should be like, this is getting ready for version 5 or whatever we're up to by then anyway, because but and I said this comment to you the other day. It's something I really love about this. This is the longevity of this project, is that we are teasing you guys things that we can't even tell you about now, that in a month and 2 months, we're going to be showing and showcasing and having it. And at the same time, we're already planning the next thing and the thing after that will be 3 and 6 and 12 months down the road. And we know, because this has been the pattern so far, that when we get closer to those things, we're going to be in the same situation. It's going to be more and more. There's just a lot of stuff going on and to do. And yeah, it's really cool. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. Let's go through a couple more. There's still some questions.
There's some coming in still.
Let's say we need an action on our app, but it's not available via native PHP. Outside of plugins, will there be a way we can add quick Kotlin or Swift code just for that action?
Probably not. If it is, then it would be. Here's the reason why. You can't just put Kotlin wherever you want it to go. It has to be in a specific place. It has to be imported properly. It has to be namespace. It has to be. You can't just inject any code anywhere you want to. You can't do that. And so, like, the plugin gives you this nice sort of framing that allows you to. Now, that being said, some of the things we talked about, shared memory and stuff like that, might be able to do something like that. But I think that kind of opens up a can of worms that we don't really want. We're not prepared to even think about that space yet, let alone say definitively one way or the other. I would say if that ever is possible, it will be quite a bit of time from now. I don't want to put, it could be 2 years. It could be never. It could be 3 months because of the way
7 minutes. Yeah.
It could, wait a minute. I got it.
Let me just, release it. So I agree with that. I don't think there's a really viable way to do some of that stuff. I mean, I said earlier that you could potentially use hooks, and we are going to introduce these hooks as part of the plugin system and the whole build pipeline, because we need them for plugins. And you could piggyback on those and do some of this stuff. But the amount of infrastructure that you would have to do to make it work, as Shane's saying, I mean, you're going to end up building a plugin system, and we're building a plugin system. So just
Yep.
use plugins like that. It doesn't make sense to try and avoid plugins. They're not that heavyweight thing that you just like, it will be a case of, yeah, you just dump that script file in your plugin and you wire it up properly. And it might be the case of, a few lines of code in a config file or a manifest or something, and then it works. That's well worth the about 2 seconds of extra effort that's going to take Claude Code to do for you. So I wouldn't try and avoid that. Oh, well, it's not a question, but we'll show it anyway, even though everybody's seen it. Thanks, Craig. I know it was like half an hour ago, probably.
See some chest hair. Hey, baby. How you doing, Craig?
So I think these two are kind of the same. How can we use Blade only without Livewire to build apps?
How can't you? How can't you?
Yeah.
I don't know what that. Well, I don't actually understand that.
It turns out you just use Blade.
Yeah, you just do it. Just build. I would say too. Oh, go ahead.
Go on. Well, no, the thing that I was going to touch on is like the convenience of Livewire is that it's got the JavaScript element already figured out. And when we pipe events into the web view right now, the Livewire event system that we've hooked up to our event system can pick up those events and kind of pass them back to PHP for you, which is how the event system works on the PHP side through Livewire. So if you wanted to achieve that, you would have to handle that yourself if you wanted to avoid Livewire. So you'd have to have the native hooks. So you could use the native helper, native.on, register the listener. You can use all of the TypeScript stuff that we've got, the library that we've built that works with the other frameworks, but it's just a JavaScript library. So you could do it. But then again, you're just like building all of this stuff yourself just to avoid what? Livewire is great. There's
not much to learn if you already know Blade anyway. And I would say on top of that, the components, the Laravel components, so X dash whatever, it's very similar to Livewire anyway. So I would, if I want to create a component that is a button that when I click it, it takes some action and I listen for like some result or whatever, I would build a Laravel component, but it's basically a Livewire component anyway.
Yeah.
So just build Livewire. I don't know why you wouldn't want to just do it with Livewire, but you can just go with Blade if you want. Just do it. Next. Yeah.
I noticed with inertia, handle inertia request file, I am sharing the authenticated user token and refresh token, but for some reason removing this will boost the speed on each request. So I think kind of what you're getting at there, I haven't looked into this in any great depth at the moment because we're just, like, let's just make inertia work to start with. But there's a bunch of things that inertia's doing for the web context that we don't necessarily need and would save ourselves some time and be a bit more efficient. We could look into sorting that out at some point and tidying it up. Just to say that inertia would really go away as an option if you wanted fully native UI, because there would be no web view. There would be no JavaScript executing across the system. You would be doing everything in PHP, and PHP would be calling out to the native code to render the UI and handle events from the UI and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm going to say we're not going to spend loads and loads of time investing in figuring out how to make all of that super, super efficient. But if there's some quick wins that we can do to make it generally better for everybody that wants to use inertia, you will be able to continue using inertia. We're not going to get rid of that. I'm just saying that if you wanted to go like to the next level, you wouldn't be using inertia. So
I would say to add to that too, if you notice that and you're not using the authenticated user token, refresh token, just get rid of it yourself. I mean, we're not going to go in and change or disable anything like that inertia is doing on a starter kit or whatever. In fact, I haven't even played with that. with our starter kits, maybe it is better, faster, or whatever. So I could take it out of ours if we're not using it, which we probably aren't. And if it speeds things up, that's a win. And thanks for pointing it out.
Have you used Livewire 4 yet? I haven't used it yet.
I did. I do have a branch on one of the kitchen sinks with it.
Okay.
And I didn't see a big difference in performance.
Okay.
But
But
I
when
only
was
played
that?
with it for half an hour. Just a couple weeks ago.
Oh, right. Okay.
I didn't notice a difference, but I also didn't play with it very long to try to see. I also brought in Blaze and
Right.
put that on some pages. And there's some like rules of like where you should put Blaze and where you shouldn't. I just tried putting on like the app Blade PHP, and that's not, you're not supposed to do that. And
Yeah.
it didn't break, but it didn't also, I just didn't feel any kind of difference. But that's not giving it a fair anything because I didn't spend any time really playing with it. So
Yeah, I haven't looked at it, but I'm still hoping and praying that it's going to be even faster. Ideas and tips on how we should decide when to do processing on the traditional backend. So I guess maybe in PHP versus JavaScript on the front end, since now the client side is also server side. Would PHP be faster at processes versus JavaScript? You did a little bit of exercise onto
that's what it was
this,
reminding me about.
yeah. Last week, and what we got joking about JSON being called PHP JavaScript, PHP object notation, because it's faster to process JSON in PHP than it is in JavaScript, which is quite surprising. But I'm going to say there's lots of it depends in all of the potential answers for this question. But I'm going to say, if you're thinking about the future of where your app could go with native PHP, when we do have full native UI, there will not be JavaScript. Like there won't be an execution path for JavaScript inside of native PHP unless you explicitly add your own web view and start doing stuff through that. And so it will be better generally if you can start moving your logic towards the back end. I would just say caveat, like right now, when you're trying to build a rich application, you might decide that it's better to do certain things in JavaScript only. Certainly while we've only got like one PHP thread that can't run in parallel.
I think that you want to do as little as possible in JavaScript in general.
Yep.
Because if you think about like the web view, it runs on the UI thread. And if you are doing a serious amount of work there, it's going to block. Where you could, even if you're sending it to some API server out someplace for PHP to process and send back to you, that's going to be more asynchronous, and it's going to be better on the resources of the device than to try to do it all inside of a web view. And again, this is all with where we currently are. Once we go to native, that's the way that you're going to want to be anyway, because you won't have a JavaScript front end. It's going to be all backgrounding, etc. And then, yeah, the fun stuff that I really, really think is cool. We figured out there's probably not a great way to do this with iOS, so it would be Android only for now. But I did create a background service in Android. Android allows you to create services, background services. And this service, I figured out a way to boot PHP a completely separate instance in this service than in the PHP that's running on inside of the application, which allowed me to create my own. And I think I talked about this last week, the week before, but allowed me to create this queue And I can just like, I have my own queue connection now, which is the device background service for the device. And I can say, dispatch this job only on Wi-Fi, only if you're plugged in, and like all these other hooks that we have available to us being a device, which is really fun. And I do want to figure out a way to get that done on iOS somehow. I think preliminarily it's not possible, but I think there's ways to figure that out. There's got to be ways to figure that out. So we'll see. But I think that's really fun when we can use the real like the Laravel things that we're used to. A queue, dispatch this job, and it just does it. You could do it like, if you have your queue driver set to sync, it's just going to happen in real time. But if that's a process that takes a couple minutes or even less, 30 seconds, it's going to block the whole UI until it's done. So you try to navigate away from that and it's going to crash, or it's going to just not even navigate until that process is done. And that's not what we want. By putting something, by moving that into a backgrounded on the device, a backgrounded service, now you're freeing that up completely. It has full context. It's context aware of all the parameters that you sent into it, and it can perform this duty. And then you can handle that whenever it's done. You can just listen for it with an event or however you want to respond to it. And I think that is, or you can just tell it to like do a local notification. So you can actually turn, lock the device, and then you get a notification, 5 minutes later when that process is done. Oh, hey, it's done. Sweet. And it didn't even go off to a server or any place. It happened all on the device. I think that's really powerful. And we've got proof of concepts for a million things. That's one of them though.
So many.
We got a bunch of questions coming in.
Well, there's some chat happening backwards and forwards. I think the main question seems to be this one from Michael Menard. Hi, Michael. Welcome. I don't think I've seen you around before, so apologies if you have been.
Welcome.
So the question was, I don't understand native PHP. As long as it renders a web view, I don't understand why I would use native PHP. I could just build a PWA with something like capacitor to access native features. And I'll have a mobile app that offers the same thing and a lot faster.
Yes. I like these questions.
Is it a question?
Well,
yeah, go for it.
It sounds like it.
It's veiled as a question.
Yes. All right. So here's my response to that. Number one, we are going to go full native to some degree in the near future. Yes, it's a web view. Yes, you can build a PWA. Yes, you can use capacitor.js and you access native features. Nothing stopping you from doing that. We built this because we are Laravel developers and we love Laravel and we love PHP. And we wanted a way to not have to think about a PWA, to not have to learn some JavaScript tool. We built this because we wanted to stay in the same mindset where we already were. And the thing is, we're finding that that's what a lot of other people want also. They want to be able to build real mobile applications, have access to real native functionality without having to leave the stack and the framework that they've been building in for how many ever years. And as far as turning that into a paid product and a business, it's much faster, number one, to build this way. It is, whether you know Laravel, I mean, that kind of comes with a caveat of knowing Laravel, knowing PHP. Like if you are familiar and you make 3 different PWAs a day in capacitor, then, stick with what you're doing. We're not going to make you or force you or anything like that to do something like this.
Yep.
There's approximately 7 million PHP developers in the world. 70% of the internet is built on PHP to some degree. There's a lot of people out there that like PHP, that are building with PHP. And I think that most of them don't even realize the power and potential of what PHP has to offer. If you look at React Native and how the JSI works under the hood, how it's got a shared memory space with C++ and JavaScript through a VM, if you've gone down that road, if you really look with a microscope at some of these other processes, and then you look at what PHP's equivalent or better than an equivalent is capable of actually doing, you'll see how excited we are about the potential in the future of this. You can build with one language for web, for desktop, for mobile, in all of the different places without doing some PWA workaround, without having to learn anything new like a capacitor JS. Not that those things are bad, but you can stay in the same mindset and functionality. And we will go native, and we will have the speed, and we'll be able to compare charts of our stuff versus React Native versus actual native, which is really the only thing I care about. How are we stacked up against actual native benchmarking? The fact that we already have a service called Bifrost to build your native PHP application and deploy it to the app stores, we make that, and we're always working on improving that as well. But over the air updates, as well as like pre-configured automated workflow. So when you push to a specific branch on GitHub, it's going to automatically deploy to Android or production or whatever. Yeah, this is a full on like economy project that we're working on here, and it's going to get better. If you want to stay with capacitor and a PWA, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But if you're wanting to stay in a PHP mindset and you want to build with Laravel, and that's why that it currently is, that could change, but only expand. We would never take it away from Laravel, of course. And you want this nicety of services similar to like an Expo EAS style, Go style apps and tooling around it, then we're somebody that in a year or two you'll probably hear a lot more of.
Yep, that's a good response. I mean, just to see,
step off my soapbox. You know?
Yeah, the kind of follow up from Michael is focused around PWA. So I would just say, you know, like PWAs are an idealistic view of what the web should be capable of, and I felt the same way. You know, like when I started my career and I got into PHP, I was like, this is building for the web. I know HTML, I know CSS, and I'm learning JavaScript and PHP, and I'm figuring out how to fit all of these pieces together. And now that I have these tools, I just want to use these tools, right? That's very convenient. They're ergonomic to me. I'm getting experience in them. I want to go deep. I don't want to go broad. So I'm going to keep on going with these things and hoping the whole time. I mean, this was like 20 years ago, hoping the whole time that the web platform would become better. And arguably, it has become better over that period. You know, like what we can do now in a browser is incredible compared to what we were able to do when Internet Explorer 6 was around and Firefox was like wearing baby pants. So, you know, it has come a long way, but it's still not far enough. And when you look at its trajectory to get to where it needs to get to make really, really good experiences that are deliverable via the web onto people's devices, into their hands, in the way that they want them to be, PWAs look like they're still going to take another 10 years to get there, at least. And you can build the kind of experiences that people want, that your clients will pay for, and your customers will flock to right now using native applications. And I'm not talking about like a thin wrapper around a web application, but a properly considered native app experience, like a mobile application experience built for that device. And then you're just doing that in a cross-platform way, so you don't have to build it like 300 different times. And native PHP allows you to do that today.
We were looking at remember we saw that Kotlin has this what's it called, where you can build with one language on iOS, and I forget what it's called. Kotlin,
the multi-platform.
That's it.
Yeah.
And we were like, you know, I heard that it wasn't that good. Actually, if you go to the website, McDonald's app is built with Kotlin multi-platform, and the McDonald's app, I like it. Actually, it's very. I look at it as a reference of like, man, I want to get to this kind of level.
Yeah.
I want us to be. I want it built on native PHP. I want to go to McDonald's Corporation and pitch them in less than 5 years' time, because we'll be able to provide a better, smoother experience. There are things that are problems inside of these huge conglomerates of React Native, of Flutter, Google, Meta, whatever, right? That they are not really addressing full on, because number one, these are free products. They have teams of people. There's a lot. It's like the giant wheel that slowly moves. It's hard to get really large changes made in some of these bigger things. You also run the risk of like potentially being dropped, as we've seen with Maui and Flutter. A bunch of Flutter devs just got laid off. Like, you never know what these people are going to do 3 or 5 years from now. They might scrap the whole project, and your clients are now stuck with very old technology you have to rebuild anyway. The way things are, we don't have to worry about that. Or at least we're paying attention to those things that are happening, and we're building our company in a way that we're not going to go that direction. We don't want to drop that. We want to keep people around, you know. A lot of things.
Yeah, but like, it's not just the tech, it's the whole ecosystem that we're trying to build around it as well. Yeah, and people will sort of come back with, well, you know, this is very young, it doesn't do everything, and the ecosystem's not very big right now. But yeah, don't forget that neither were any of those other tools when they were only 6 months old. So, you know, just give us another 10 years and we'll see where we're at. There's another question in here.
Yeah, there's one I want to answer. Yep, that's the one.
The secure storage one. Yeah. So is secure storage not in the JavaScript plugin?
I would be surprised, but I'm going to look right now, because I used it. I know I used it. You have to, you do. It's secure storage.get, and then it's the .value that you get off of that. And I'm 99% sure on this, because I was playing with it the other day. I'm looking right now.
I'm gonna feel confident in saying it is there. Maybe it's just not in the
it's there.
docs.
It's there's secure storage set and secure storage get. So it's not secure storage .get .set. And maybe that should be at least added to. No, I'm sorry. It is secure storage .set, secure .get, and secure storage .delete. Yeah, it's there.
So you should be able to access that.
Yep.
Sanusia Z9115. Cool. And then actually kind of a slightly different angle from the same person on something else. So the Min SDK stuff.
Yep. So
I'm getting this for iOS as well, by the way, but go on.
As we continue, so right now you can't. It won't work. Anything below 33 and it's not going, you'll get crashes. So don't. That's why it's set to 33. Also, that's why. So like everything that's inside of the native PHP,
for a reason.
They're done intentionally. Everything inside of the native PHP directory, it's going to overwrite every single time. We don't keep those changes. When you do a run command, if you build and package and all that stuff, we do a composer install no dev every single time, because it's like the source of truth, and it allows people to not hack and all that stuff. And it keeps you safe, because if you do try to deploy this out, you're going to have a lot of crashalytics reports coming in. So for now, don't even bother. However, that being said, this is something that's very much on our radar. It's just Fezzik and Mimi building all these things. So every time we make some sort of breakthrough in the technology, underlying technology, we are looking to see if we can reduce those minimums and allow more devices in. For example, I created I have a proof of concept where instead of bringing in 14 different shared embed files, .so files for PHP, along with an entire directory of C++ code with all of the PHP header files, I've gotten rid of all of that stuff in favor of a single .so file, and everything inside is statically compiled. What part of that allowance, it actually required me to increase my my minimum API SDK that I'm building the NDK against. So it's like compiling PHP against the native development kit, the NDK for Android. I had to increase the minimum that I was targeting from 21 to 29. By doing that, it actually made it more compatible going back to Android 10. And not that everything works and it has to be tested, but it could actually work on Android 10 plus going in this direction. And that's something that will speed things up. And it's just like, I spent a few hours working in this space and then like a million other things happen and have to jump and get out of this. I feel like, you ever see that movie Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? The guy's out in his garage for like days and days on end. It's like, man, I just want to be 2 months with you figuring all this stuff out and like really getting it done. So yeah, we need funding. So we need to hire some people so we can do some of these things. A lot of these,
it does feel like crackpot scientists kind of stuff half the time, and like it's not. It doesn't work because it's a bad idea. It doesn't work because I haven't got the time to finish it off. But
Punya Pal,
Mr. Punya Pal, welcome. I think this is probably about time for us to wrap up. I mean, we've been going for over 2 hours.
Yeah,
my throat is hurting. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
It's getting very
dark. It is time. Thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate it. Happy holidays. Regardless of what holidays you might celebrate, it is holidays for us, and it's that time of year. And I mean, I kind of always have the holidays in my heart a little bit, regardless. I try to live that way, but we're taking off a couple of weeks, and we'll see you guys after the first of the year with a lot of very cool, fun, exciting things, as always. So thank you.
There's one little final goodbye to end the year. If you haven't already joined Bifrost, we're doing a 25% discount till the end of the year. So you can go and get that with, I think it's Laravel Forever 25. Is that right?
It. Yep. So it's the end of the year 2025. It's also the 25th anniversary of the movie Elf, and you get 25%
important.
Off. Very important. Yep.
So that's that.
So
did I spell that right?
Laravel Forever. I was reading. Yeah.
Good.
Yep. So cool. If you're in Discord, go to Discord. I would say too, on this discount, it's good for anything, whether it's 1 month or it's 1 year. But if you get a year of Hella or Thor, you also get a max license for free. So that's worth $300 or $10,000. So you get this thing it's like a brand new car for free. So get us on Discord. We hop in there from time to time. I'm pretty much in there once a day at least to look at any support requests and try to. So hop in there and we'll carry on conversations that direction.
Yep. Yeah. Have a smashing weekend. Well, safe travels, because I know you're driving millions of miles towards the sun or something, aren't you? No. And have a good week.
Read your Telegram.
Chill week.
I'm
still reading the I'm ready. Start at 12:02.
Yep.
Okay. I am gonna I'm gonna go. I think I need to eat. Otherwise my brain's gonna flop.
Same. That's exactly how I feel. Peace. Talk to you later.
See you in a couple of weeks.
I'll see you in a couple minutes.
Okay.
See you guys.
Bye.